Tom, could you tell me a little bit about the cost of farming, like equipment costs and other expenses farmers might incur?
The cost of equipment in the last few years has gone up, I don't want to say dramatically, but it's gone up to, everything's a little bit more higher, but what also makes it nice is that the used equipment we're handing in or trading in is also risen in price, so it kind of balances itself out a little bit that way. Cost of inputs, that depends upon every year of putting corn in the ground. Last year was a little more, less money to be put in, where this year we've seen fall fertilizer prices were up, so the cost of production for the fertilizer end is going to be a little bit more higher than we haven't had in the past.
Girl, I know I don't know you, but your pretty little eyes so blue are.
Why would a turkey producer support ethanol?
Well, I think that a turkey producer would support ethanol for the same reason that anyone else in agriculture or a livestock feeder would support ethanol, and that what's good for one commodity group is typically good for us all when it really comes down to it. I think the industry has grown so quickly that we had some growing pains, and I think now that we're at a point that the ethanol industry is fairly mature, supply and demand are becoming more in line. Growth is next to nothing right now, or limited at least at this point, so we're not building the demand base faster than the supply base. I think that turkey growers can easily support ethanol because the distiller's grain is used in their feed rations at a reduced cost, and now that most livestock producers have learned how to use DDGs in their rations, what kind of percentages actually work, and what limits there are to that usage, it makes turkey producers more supportive of ethanol in general.
Like the moon on your skin. I'm so glad you trusted me to slide up on this dusty.
Should crop insurance be cut to provide funding for other programs?
My answer to that is no. Crop insurance is probably the most important tool we have for farming, especially as young farmers. We need crop insurance to be able to go to a bank and borrow money against the crop that we want to plant. And if we cut the crop insurance and pay other farm programs with it, it makes our agriculture community weaker in general, and we put a lot of young farmers at risk.
Let your hair down and get out of town. Got the stars coming out over.
Steve, if you could design a farm policy, what would it look like?
I think a good farm policy for the United States is very difficult to figure out because agriculture is so very different across the nation. One of the things you have to consider when you design a farm policy is to get the support of various sectors of agriculture across the whole country, and so it's difficult. But I think the most important thing is you have a farm policy that pays out when there's a disaster automatically, and everybody knows what kind of a program they're working with. So we don't have ad hoc disasters. We don't have to rely on ad hoc disaster programs. And in good times, they should cost very little.
And all I know now is it's going good. You got your hands up. You're rocking in my truck.
Cole, could you tell me what a crop insurance means to a young producer?
Crop insurance provides young producers a significant safety net due to losses in production. The other thing it really helps with is secured financing from lenders, and that they know that there's a backup plan in case of a bad year.
You got the radio on, you're singing every song. I'm set on cruise control, I'm slowly losing hope.